Hey Carlos, can you tell us about your background and how you got started as an entrepreneur?
Well, you don't see my gray hair, but probably early 90s, Microsoft didn't give any support to people that didn't have a company. So back in Puerto Rico, I built a name and I registered myself as a company. So I can then go to the events that they were putting together. And that's how I started to work on it. But really, I started doing computer support for my brother because he will never read a manual until today. We're talking about almost 40 years later. He will not read a manual. He will just come and say, how do we make this work? So that's how I started on all this.
Yeah, that's great. How did you what business do you own any businesses today, like as of now?
Yeah, so we have a technology consulting company as the first one. And the reason for that one was that I started as a techie. So fixing computers, going up, I became one of the top uh, Microsoft masters worldwide. And I found a challenge that I got to a point that I knew all the technology, but the higher ups were not listening to what I was saying. And it was that I was not leading them towards the outcome that I wanted them to go. Even though I had the solution, they didn't know about it. Later on, I find out that there's a lot of technology leaders, even in higher positions, that have similar challenges. So when I developed my career, I started building that and then became a coach because I found that as a limitation in myself. And I said, there might be other people with this challenge. So that's the first one. Then we have a marketing or consulting technology company that we actually start with the strategy of what the customer or the company may need from a technology standpoint, and then go down if it's at a cloud level, if it's at an infrastructure, or if it's at a marketing layer, they need to generate leads or they're working on their content. So in that way, we partner with some of our teams to help them reach that goal.
Yeah, so when did you start that second business? Like, I know you do a little bit with ClickFunnels. Like, do you dive in and help build funnels and websites for them? Is it marketing strategy? Like, you say tech, but whenever I think tech, I think of like almost like in hand tech, right?
So
So
the interesting thing is that we do the whole thing. And the reason for that is that I find out that sometimes when I talk to someone, if I niche down or give them, okay, I help you with your marketing, like local businesses, let's talk about,
okay, yeah,
they will focus and they will not call me for anything else because they thought that that's my only niche.
okay, yeah,
When I work with them, that's what I start with the strategy, and I show them that if they have a need, like in something, like I have people that work with ads, even though I know how to do ads. I have, like, we do funnels, or we can do the websites, or we can work in building their technology strategy to help and connect the different tools that are required for their business.
okay.
Do I like to do the hands-on? Sometimes I get someone else to do that, but I'm a techie at heart. So right here, if you look at, like, I have 4 cameras in front of me. So video is something like, literally, I have 4 cameras that I switch between them to do different things. And when we help them is, how can we help them eliminate the technology overwhelm? That is our tagline. Anything that is technology overwhelm for them, I want them to think, call Carlos. Don't even try to figure out. Just, do you feel overwhelmed with your technology? Anything that has to do with technology, call Carlos. That's the idea.
Yeah. So you basically it's basically like an agency,
Mhm.
but you kind of just distribute it between like different segments almost.
Correct.
So yeah. What would you say would be the most challenging part of owning that business or any of your businesses?
The most challenging part is that I love learning. And sometimes you can focus so much in learning that, like, my role is not just learn what is needed and then go and implement, but I need to also work to communicate the value of the company. And sometimes the challenge is that I love the learning so much that then something happened. Oh, let me learn this one, and I get really good, and then let's go this one, and then really good. So I have been purposely, when I see something that I like, I go, do I need it right now? If I need it for later, and it's a really, really, really good special or something, I go, okay, let me see if I can use it later, but I'm not gonna focus right now. Or let's say I sometimes have to see things 2 or 3 times because as I'm watching it, the training or trying, I like to visualize it. So I actually watch it at night before going to bed because then I'm decompressing and oh, that's a good idea. Then the next day, I take the time to then try it a little bit.
That's great. Yeah. So you basically have learned how to overcome that challenge with before bed watching. I feel like not a lot of people are like that though. You know what I mean? If it's something that they don't know how to do, they get scared and they're like, "Oh, I need to pivot and move this way because I don't know how to do that." I like that you stand your ground and say, "I'm going to learn that," but then sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Sometimes the challenge is that you need to learn what you're good at and if you can partner with someone else so
Yeah.
they can you can tag team it and you can say I will let you do this part so you're really good at and then I will pass it to someone else. But I think that I've always thought that if there is a problem there should be a solution. So I go, okay, do I need to find the solution or have someone else already found how to solve the problem? Do I need to partner? Or let's say if was that I was looking how to do something, I'm like, I need to do it. I know what it is, but I don't know where to start. Okay, I actually use my inbox as something to track my progress. So I have to clear my inbox daily to make sure that I'm moving forward. And in that way, I know, okay, so if it's here, it need to get done. If it get to the point that I have marked it red and unread a couple of times, I'm like, okay, then this is not something that I'm gonna be able to do. I make a note in some of my note-taking apps. Okay, here's some things that I learned how to do because in that way I may be able to do it later. And actually, that's how I initially did a lot of the coding in the last 2 years with the API for ClickFunnels. I knew how to do things in other platforms. And I'm like, okay, I know that I want to do this. I want to be able to tag it from Facebook.
Mhm.
So I actually built code before it was available how to actually do it, but it was not all at once. It was like this little thing, oh, I'm tired. This is not possible. And then in that way, keep moving forward.
Yeah. So I forgot to ask this earlier. Who or like what inspired like have you just always been into tech like since you were a kid? Like who or what inspired you like to get into this? Because you would have probably been in your 20s whenever you started with the Microsoft.
We had to go way back. I
Way
got
back.
my first
Okay.
computer at 6.
Oh wow. Okay.
1981 when the first 8088 computers actually it was an 8086 was a K-Pro 8086 computer,
Wow.
and that's how I started. And it was because my dad, I was the youngest one, so my dad wanted to bring a computer to the house as an excuse because he wanted to write a book.
Mm.
So I was the excuse, but he wanted to use it, and I got into learning how to use it, what to do. And little by little, I started getting better. Then in my room, as I grew up, I was getting parts because my brother had a computer store. So I was putting things together. And like I said, already by 9 or 10, I was helping him install computers. Then when I was all through high school, I used to finish high school around 1:30 So we were already in customer sites running cabling, like the old coax cabling, like the cable TV, to install networks. Probably I'm gonna date myself. Netware. Probably people don't even know what that is. But we're talking about way old enterprise technologies when I was in high school. And from there, then I start worldwide BBSs. Probably people don't even remember what those were the first connections with modems that we were able to do, um, and then be able to connect. And from there, I start going up all the way up, fixing computers, then network switches, router security, and everything.
Yeah. That's I feel like most people who are in this space kind of today, right, for like tech, almost started out kind of like that, like super interested as a kid and kind of grew up with it, and then now just trying to distribute their information to the world. So, do you have like a course, or do you
So
have any like
we're
information like
working right now on a new membership called Entrepreneur Tech Secrets, and we started with a newsletter. And the reason for that is that we work a lot with the customers. And what we did is that, like, we saw the need for the people to learn and lead themselves through technology. Because again, that's the whole thing. I said, how if I bring them in and I start teaching them? So we have a community called Entrepreneur Tech Secrets that help them with that. And our new book, you can barely see it because I move it up here. Um, that is called the Tech Leadership Code. So that is our latest course and book, the techleadershipcode.com, that allow people to learn how to lead in the world of technology. And we're going to do a little bit of a shift on some things because it applies to any organization. But the reason that I launched it initially as a tech is because I had a lot of friends that were having challenges with their careers. They wanted to grow their career, they wanted to ask for a raise, or they wanted to move up. They're really good technologists. They have never invested anything in any of their soft skills. And learning what are those, how do I lead? How do I cast a vision? How do I strategize for what I have to do to move forward? It actually very, very key to move forward. So that's technically some of the latest developments that we have been working on.
yeah, so you point at that book. How many books have you written or like been a co-writer of?
Um, Co-writer for, publish on my own three. I'm working on the fourth that gonna be with my wife. That's gonna be one specifically for couples, so we can share our story and tips about how to actually work together as a couple. And we're actually working in the next version of the tech leadership code, but that gonna be more towards the entrepreneurial community because there's similar challenges, just with a little bit of a different flavor to help people to understand where they are and how they can keep moving forward.
That's great. I feel like about every person I've had on here has either done a course or written at least one book. So I feel like that's great. If any of the listeners have not written a book, you should probably just write a book. Just find something that you're interested in. Just write. Like I wrote a book on triathlon swimming right there, and I was like, everybody. So I do triathlons, and everybody complains about the swimming part of it, right? The leg of the swim. Everybody's good at running, everybody's good at biking. You get to the swim, they're like, or they're just not good at it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm a competitive swimmer. I've been swimming for 11 years. I'm just going to write a book on the swimming portions, technique, and then I'm just going to do a course on it, membership, and just see how it goes. So yeah, I feel like doing that will definitely, and it perks up like yourself, like you understand the other people, like how much time and maybe money has gone into that.
Yeah, you need to take the time to actually focus on it. And sometimes we don't realize how much it actually takes for someone to master an area. And I think that the book is one way, doing a video, doing a podcast, doing something sequential. I think that for me, what it takes is that it helps me to try to continue to improve little by little and to try to help someone. Like, I know that when I read a book, by default, gonna be in at least 2x, like speed. So I like to
Mhm.
listen them or watch the video. So that's my default. My wife thinks that I'm crazy. Um, and I'm like, babe, if I get used to doing it that way, I know that other people will not, but I can consume the information faster and digest it because I'm looking for something specifically. When you write a book, when you do a podcast, when you do something like this, the whole idea is how do you help someone else to compress the time that it takes so they don't have to go through everything. Like, I just literally this morning, I just posted a brand new video on how to do survey funnels and how to actually do the whole thing and save all the data and all that kind of stuff. I've been working on that for the last probably 5 days, figuring it out, the different details, different things. The video, the whole thing that I posted was about 10 minutes. And the reason is, okay, so I took the whatever 24 times 5, shrunk it, and say, here's what you have to focus on. Does it mean that the person will only take them 5 minutes to do it? No. But now they know that there is a possibility that they can learn it also. So I think that that's what the value is for anyone, to share what they are learning so they can become the masters to teach someone else. And in that way, they become better.
Yeah. You said something about the survey funnel. Is that can you do that in 2.0 and like
Yeah.
do that now? Oh, I'm gonna have to
So,
watch your video. I'm
so
gonna have to watch your video.
it's not built into the platform, but you can do it with a little bit of code.
Okay.
I have a wizard that I did on how to create those. I'm gonna modify it so now it can do what that video shows. The previous one that I did, that I have a wizard on my tools, is that it will do the like a simulated survey, and when you click, it open a pop up, so
Okay.
it can give you all the information, and then you can do that part. This one actually is a little bit different because this one is on a pop up itself, and then from there it goes through all the information. So uh, there's is just thinking outside the box, and sometimes you need someone to spark the idea, and then you go, ooh, now I know what to do, how to do it. And you can bring what you have learned. Like you said, you probably do things in swimming in a way to be able to train yourself.
Mhm.
Well, you know that if you do it in the opposite way, you're gonna affect it. So now you know how to help someone. So something similar.
Yeah, no, I'm actually gonna watch that video after this. I'm like excited now. So, what do you consider your greatest success or an achievement as a business owner or entrepreneur?
It's gonna be interesting what I'm gonna say. But I think that my biggest success is that I can have time with the family to be able to enjoy. And it's not that I have all the time in the world, but I think that for a long time, focusing on making money or doing things, even though it's not that I forget about the family, but having time to enjoy with them without the pressure, and learning to actually live my faith in the middle of everything that I do. I will call that my biggest success because it allowed me to be the authentic Carlos and be able to help people being Carlos. I don't have to change, I don't have to be different. If somebody doesn't like who I am, that's fine. And I respect everyone. I just need to be myself. So I think that I will call that my biggest success, because if I have a lot of money, but I had to be someone else, if I have a lot of money and I cannot spend time, with, let's say, with my wife or different things like that, it make it very challenging. Or with the kids. So we are next week we're going to Mexico as a family. We're gonna be spending time with friends and family to enjoy that time, and having the freedom to be able to do that. It's actually really rewarding.
Yeah, that's great. So that's I think the main. So I'm homeschooled. I've been homeschooled my entire life, and that is for sure one of the benefits is that you don't have to have all that extra stress outside of the house, right? It's all learn what you need to learn and learn what you want to learn, right? And make as much money as you need to support yourself and your family. So I I think you answered that perfectly.
You got in
I'll be
trouble with the principal with the school?
Oh yeah, the principal is my dad technically. You know what I mean? So I mean, sometimes I get my butt whooped every once in a while, but yeah. I will be in Mexico next week for the Secrets of Success. Are
Oh,
you going to
cool.
that?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna be there. I'm bringing my son. So
That'll be
yeah,
How old your son?
he's 15.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. I'll have
Yeah.
to talk to him. My business partner, it wasn't able to go, so he was like, "You know what? Just take my spot and just go learn for me, and then come back and give me all the information." So yeah, it should be. I can't wait. Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. I think we leave Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. Same.
Yep. Yeah. No, that'll be super fun. Is there any stories you're particularly proud of, or that you want to share with me or the listeners?
I will say, um, when we learn to work efficiently, doesn't matter where you are in the world. Last year, we had the opportunity to go to Israel for 3 weeks. We were working with one of my spiritual business partners, because we have people that have asked us that they want to go, but they want somebody that will train them and teach them all kind of stuff. So while working, we said, okay, so let's go scout the different places, let's go and do everything. And at the same time, I needed to still do some work, do some things. And because I learned how to do everything mobile for the longest time, we were sometimes like driving and I was on my laptop with my phone, and I was doing things quick and doing it easy. But we were able to then enjoy 3 weeks traveling all around Israel, enjoying everything. I share that story because it was a great time to enjoy and integrate again what we love, what we do for business, what we do for faith, and everything within everything that we do. And the reason that I love that is that I think that each one of us have a purpose, and we were created with a purpose. And a lot of times we are not clear on what the purpose is. I know that my purpose, and that's what the name of our company is Bezalel. Bezalel is someone that biblically has a big role, because he had a lot of expertise in what I consider the technology of that time. Um, and I'm not gonna give you all details, but the reason is that he knew what to do before it was needed. And that's been the same thing that I see in my life. And I try to help people. And that's why I'm always learning and helping people ahead of what was needed, because it's like it drives my energy. It's like the happiness of like when I do something like that, it's like, ooh, yeah, I know how to help you. So it's not just to have the answer, but it's to be that servant that can help people when they are stuck or they're overwhelmed. And to do it with everything that I have is a great option.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. My family loves to travel. That is a place that I really would like to travel to, just because there's so much. I feel like it would be very just, you know what I mean? It's like it's the same from everywhere, but it's very different, right? It's very old. You feel down to earth there. So, and I've
I
never
have
heard
I
anyone.
I have a
No,
perfect guide for you guys when you go.
okay.
Um, we actually we were having a doctoral degree within 2 weeks because um, the person that was taking us, number one, he was an archaeologist, he was a pastor, his family live in Israel for about 40 years. So he grew up in there. So he had all the back history, all the other components. So we were going through every little place, and he was bringing us so much detail. And the richness of the experience was very different. That we saw other people in the place that we arrived, and they look really bored. And all of our people were very chanting, very happy, enjoying everything. So
Yeah. Yeah. I have to send that over. I'm going to kind of pivot and we're going to talk a little bit more about business now. So, what would you, are there any important lessons that you've learned like along the way with like communication with clients or how to gain clients? Like any lessons you learned?
you know, I one thing that is really important is setting clear expectations. I think that sometimes when we're starting, because we make an investment or because we're looking for clients, we may not be clear with what we're gonna do or how we're gonna do it. And like I'm a person that I don't think about doing something bad for someone else, but someone else might not be thinking the same way as you do. And one time I had a client that we agree on something, and then all of a sudden, because we didn't have it in paper, well, no, that's not what we agreed. Then it was not something that was my fault. He was trying to force people into like a membership behind the scenes when they were getting one of his products. And I said, that's not too good. And the market that you're going for will actually, you're going to have refunds. And that's exactly what happened. So then he got upset that that was happening. He was blaming me. I'm like, no, one, you're marketing to the wrong people, people that want something just free, and then you're charging them automatically. And also overseas, you're having that's not the way to do it. But then I would say the lesson in that is like, if you think that the project goes is not gonna be correct, I'll prefer to walk away. I definitely prefer to walk away. And we end up closing the relationship, and because it was getting bad. And I think that when we start making clear what we're gonna deliver and put it in writing, so both teams or both organizations will agree upon that, I think is one of the biggest lessons. Because even though you may think that the other person uh may not gonna do anything wrong, but in that way we're both clear on, hey, I'm delivering 5 things, I'm delivering 50 things. And here's the list. I delivered them all. We're good to go. I would say that was one of the biggest lessons.
Yeah. Me and my mom, we started setting up systems recently for everything I need from the client before I start working with them. We're looking at maybe setting up some contracts and stuff so that it can just be, because I've had a few clients where they have jumped around a lot, right? And I'm thinking about setting up a system. I would like to actually hear your input on this. I'll ask you after. Um, so my first client, my first paid client, right after we got back from FHL, they I had a recording of everything that I had said, like via like how much I wanted to get paid, how many pages I'm building, what type of funnel. I come back to show what I've done as like a, you know, I'd like to get compensated now. And they're like, this is not at all what I want, and this is not at all how much I was going to pay you. So then I just removed myself from the situation. I sent my PayPal or whatever I sent to pay, and I said, pay what you think I should have been paid for this and walk away. So they paid what what I wanted, but there are those people for sure who try to snake around you and take advantage of you. And like since I'm 16, people don't look to me as the same. I feel like as if they would 30-year-old older, right? So it's definitely I try to figure out how to word myself to where I am a professional and it makes them think I'm a professional. So I definitely understand like what you have said there.
It happened at every age. I was gonna I have some of those signature software, but I find out that within my cloud storage, I use Box because in that way I can save everything and I don't have to worry about it. Uh, because of all the podcasts and everything that I record in high resolution,
Mhm.
and all the other platforms were charging me a lot. So Box have also a sign option built in. So all that I do is that when I finish a document that I need them to sign, I upload it, and there's a sign option. I put the drops where I want the person to sign, and I send it. Until that is not signed, there is no starting process to go. And I think that sometimes you're gonna find people that may want to take advantage of you, but there's other people that will value what you are. And I think we need to focus in trying to get those clients that value what we do. And that's why a lot of times, if the client is hagging too much for the price, or it's like, okay, you're not seeing the value of what I'm bringing to the table. The value is not my age, even though, let's say in my case, I had over 30 years of actual enterprise experience in every platform on the planet. When I say every platform, like there's literally, I have the proof for that. But that is not what make. It's like I'm giving you a roadmap on how I'm gonna help you for your specific problem. Here what it costs. Here's my timeline. Here's how we're gonna work. Let's move forward. If you don't think that I'm the right person, I prefer that let's go in a different direction. Like I had a customer that the other day, they came initially and said, "Oh, that is too much." And I said, "Perfect, no problem. This is what it costs, my time. And to do that, you already saw me delivering you value."
Mhm.
A week later, he came back and said, "Is there something that we could do?" I said, "Okay, if you want someone else to do part of the work, here's what I will do, and here's what you have to ask them to do. Um, will that be okay?" And then he accepted. I delivered him the work in about a day and a half.
Yeah.
So he saw the value. The other team have not even started doing the work.
Yeah.
So then I said, "Okay, I'm done." His answer was, "How much will you charge me so you can do the rest?" So he came back to the original price. You see,
Yeah.
sometimes we have to let the customer, we're going to guide them through the process. When they see that we deliver value, they will find a way for how they're going to come our way. So in that case, like I like to do a lot of the bigger or the challenging stuff. How the systems interact, how do you automate the whole piece, how do you make the difficult things that on the front end reflect on the back end, so things like that. Not a lot of people understand how to do that because you have to put the vision,
Mhm.
and like sometimes you have to partner with someone else, like you take care of the simple, I take care of the difficult, and I pass it back to you so you can then finish.
Yeah. I think that's the cool part about like doing like partnerships too, is you can with those clients, right? You can go talk with your team like, how do you think we should maneuver around this? But for my question that came off that, the I have an idea where it's like a subscription to me, and I'm
Mhm,
sure you've seen it before, like unlimited funnel builds,
mhm.
one in queue at a time, however much money a month. So I've been thinking about doing that. Do you have any input on if that's a good idea, or do you think just like work, pay if they need something else, work, pay, or do you think the unlimited a month subscription is a good idea?
It's a valuable use of our time. The question gonna be, if let's say that you get this one customer and the delivery, again, you have to set the boundaries of what it is. So let's say if you're doing funnel, does that include that you're doing the copy, the emails, the
Hmm.
automation?
Yeah.
Because then if for one customer that they pay you a flat fee, now they're using all your hours, from a business standpoint, that will not be a good idea.
Okay.
But if you put it at an affordable price, that then is a beneficial for both of you, because that's the thing. If we look at it from a biblical standpoint, you don't want to take more than what you can give. You want to be correct. If you look at how Think and Grow Rich explain it, you cannot get your dream without offering something in return. So the idea is there has to be a win-win for both of us. And you
Yes.
have to then think that, let's say, if this gonna take me 2 days to deliver it, and again, I'm gonna put just flat numbers. 2 days, $3,000, and I can deliver it. Okay, now I have other days in that week or in that month that I can work or do other stuff without a problem. But if it's $3,000 and it's gonna take you the whole month,
To do it. Yeah.
that is a problem. If it takes you a month because the customer doesn't respond, that is a completely different story.
Hmm.
But you have to look at it, and it's a good idea, but also how many people you're gonna have in that package, and you need to be able to know that you want to work with that customer.
Yeah. So that's where I think I'm gonna have different tiers, right? Because I can do copy.
Mhm.
It just might not be what they exactly want.
Mhm.
So I would have, and if it's unlimited, so they can tell me to edit. Once I get the skeleton built out and I get a draft of what they would like in the copy and images, because I can do graphics and stuff. That's not too hard for me. Copy is easy. I have all of these templates that I've built out through all of my funnel building career, right? So I have everything set up. It's just the how many people do I want to have, right? So I think maximum would be five. If I did $2,000 a month,
Mhm.
five people, I feel like that'd be really good for me. I'm saying people will leave probably after 2 or 3, like 3 to 4 months, depending on because once a funnel is working, why would you need to change it, right? So why would you need to have me? So that's where I think by I don't know 4 or 5 months from now, I would like to have two people maybe on that for $2,000 a month, and that would be more than I'm making now. So I normally charge 250 a page
Mhm.
right now, or depending on how large the pages are, I might negotiate something else. So, do you have any input on that?
You know, I normally try to look at it from a the per page or per funnel. It's gonna depend on what you're doing. A lead funnel definitely require a lot less work than, let's say, a webinar, or you're gonna do, like, I just finished an indoctrination funnel to reuse it and then create it as a template for myself or for customers. So it's gonna depend on what you're doing. I will say the 250, I will go and say, look at the whole of the work. If it's a lead funnel and it's 3 pages, put a price for the whole amount. So it's a unit of work. Okay, so I know that this take me a unit of work to complete this. If you do it faster, gain for you. If it take you longer because something happened to you, well, you may have lost a little bit on that, but it's also a learning experience for you that, okay, now this building unit Now I can multiply for other things. Let's say if I wrote an email sequence for one of the customers as part of the additional work. So I say, okay, I'm gonna do the email sequence. I'm gonna finish you some work in this other platform that you have, and I knew the amount of time that it was gonna take me. So I'm like, that's what I gave him the round flat number of it's because for me it's a unit of work, and it's gonna be, let's say it's $1,000. Okay, so it's X amount of work. I know what that takes from me. You need to find that so you can multiply your unit of work. And that unit of work may be an hour, maybe 4 hours. You have to figure that piece out so you know that when, let's say, I want to work this Saturday and I want to put 1 unit of work, you know how much you should make for that hour. But sometimes, let's say, if you do a meeting, you may not get paid for that meeting, but you have to recoup that from the unit of work when you do it. You see?
Yes.
So that is part when you figure out, okay, for a lead funnel, let's say we're gonna meet and it's a 30-minute upfront, 30-minute after. They're gonna send me things back and forth. I can finish that, let's say, in an hour or two. Let's say for an example. Okay, it doesn't mean that your work is less valuable because you finish it in 30 minutes. It means that you're efficient. It means that you are able to accomplish something faster. Or let's say it means that you have the computer equipment so you can do it faster. Let's say when I'm here in the studio, I have 3 monitors. I can work a lot faster here than when I am downstairs on my mobile laptop.
Yes.
So then I know that if I had to do something in the mobile laptop, need to be something that I have to focus just in that. So I'm content creating. I'm not needing multiple units to move things around and do things faster. So you see,
Mhm.
so that's something that you're gonna learn as you build it. But start now. How long does it take me to do this work? I know that if I'm gonna do a podcast and I'm in my office or anywhere else, I don't need no more equipment. I can do it even on my phone,
Yes.
and we will do it anywhere else. No problem. I know what it takes me because I build the system. I use something similar to what you have. I use Restream uh, because I have everything. I have 6 podcasts set up in there. I just switch branding and I go live, videos, everything. I don't have to do anything else after the fact. But it used to take me download the file,
Mhm.
edit the audio, master the audio, mix it back to the video. So it used to take me at least 5 hours to do one podcast episode. I'm talking about probably 2017, 2018. Now I go record, and when I finish, the podcast is done. I don't have to do anything else. You see, those are things that you learn how to do for later on.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That helped me understand, like, for sure, like what I need to do next for that. So I do time blocking, right? Because I have to still do like some school stuff, and I do sports and chores and everything else, right? So, and like you were saying, like, because like cart funnels, those will take me a little bit longer because I'm trying to convince someone to buy. You know what I mean? Like, put some urgency into the copy and um, graphics. Whereas a lead funnel, I'm just trying to get their email address, and it's not crazy. So, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I should probably move some of that around. Going back to like books, do you have a favorite book or a book that you recommend I read?
I will say you will continue learning the tech. So books on tech or what you're gonna focus on, they will always be good.
Mhm.
But I will say leadership books that you can learn about how you lead yourself is one of the most underestimated skills. Like 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, the five dysfunction of a team. And the reason for that is that will show you outside how you start interacting. You should learn the techleadershipcode.com. You should go there and get your book. Now, but
True.
anything that is in the leadership realm, because here's what's going to happen. When you start learning to lead yourself, is when people going to start following you because you're going to be outside of the pack.
Mhm.
If you are just a follower, everybody's following and they're going to say, okay, we're following the guy that is up front. But when you all of a sudden you start doing your own thing because you're leading yourself and you're a little bit different and you're a little bit different, then they're gonna say, wait, he's different. What is he doing? And they're gonna start following you. So again, anything on the leadership realm, John Maxwell is a great author. Um, Pat Lencioni, and there's a lot of authors. And my favorite book that I always have, and again, some people don't like it, the Bible. And the reason for that, if you look at every concept that have been implemented around the world, a lot of times, or most of the times, you can trace it back to the Bible. So that's why I always have it with me. I always go back to it, or anything that helped me focus, recenter, so I can go back there. It actually make a lot of sense. And to be interesting, like some of the largest and most influential people, that's one of the things that they do.
Yeah. So favorite books, more of the like, I mean, books that I need to read, leading favorite book of Bible. Yeah, that's great. So one more question for you before we leave. As a 16-year-old, what space or what should I do to improve my business, or like what should I do as a 16-year-old? Like I have time to kind of test things, play around with things, make money. What should I do? Like what's your recommendation?
So here's one thing: don't get sucked in that you need all the things from every other place that they offer you. Like if I could go back, um, I started working early on, and I wasted a lot of money because when you start working, you start making money. And later on, I wish that I could have had that money. And my dad used to tell me, it's like, don't spend that much money. Save your money for later on. And the reason that I say that is focus on trying to understand really your purpose, why you were put on this earth. You're going to have skills that you're going to do that could be your work, but you may have a different passion about what you want to go for. Try to develop that early on and then connect that to your skills. As a 16-year-old, you're going to be pulled into different directions, things that will like you, things that will not. You are loved by your family, even though you may not feel it, you may not like it. I don't. You have a sister, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
One
She
sister.
may drive you insane, or you may drive her insane. Value that time that you have with the family. If I could go back, um, there's a lot of times that created memories. Write those memories, that time that you spend, and then start now helping others. What you learn to do now when you're 16 becomes your habits later on. To give you an example, I learned to work in tech, I learned to dress, I learned to speak in front of people when I was between 13, 14, 16, before I was outside high school.
Mhm.
And I kept the behavior after. It developed who I am today, even though I'm 40, gonna be 48, I think. Yeah, gonna be 48. Um, and those things were developed when I was younger. So take the time to do that. And then take the time to be a kid. There's gonna be time that you will be able to do a lot of the other things, but your time, that is the only currency that we cannot make more. You will later on be able to make more money. You will later on be able to travel more. But to be a kid, to be able to enjoy the simple things in life before having all the other responsibilities, uh, it's important. Um, Connect with your parents. I will say there are things that you don't understand from them because you're a kid, but now you're 16, so you may start being able to understand a little bit more because you're growing up. Ask them about what they were when they were 16. Learn from their mistakes so you don't make the same ones as you grow up. And you're going to make some. But if you can learn from what they made wrong so you don't have to do it, that's a better option.
Yeah. Now my mom's gonna listen to this and cry. It's gonna be great. But
You
yeah.
want her to cry.
So yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, most people come on here and will tell me do, you know, real estate or keep going in this. Uh, it's great that you're going more personal because I feel like that's true. I mean, if you wake up and all you think about is what do I have to do for work today, which has been me in the past, right? So I feel like navigating that and thinking about more of a whole picture, right? Yeah.
To give you an example, like um, when COVID hit, a lot of people were thinking that you don't have another day. And my wife and I, we were not struggling, but was challenging like for everybody else. That we're like, okay, we are protecting ourselves, protecting our family, trying to do different things. Um, and we started to look into how can we value more each other and understanding ourselves. And we tried to keep it up after the fact. And it's one of the things that when you learn to be grateful internally first and connecting with whoever you have right next to you, I can go and start trying to make money. But if I wake up grumpy without being grateful and understanding who's around me, I'm going to be grumpy and I'm not going to make a sale. I'm going to piss off a customer and they're going to leave. And I may needed that money. But when you actually are focusing first on who you are, who you were created to be, why you had to be here, then you can start your day in a different way. Like the best thing that I could tell you is start the day in prayer. Like wake up early, meditate, take your time in the word so you can actually be the light through everything that you do. Because then your day will start different. Like when I wake up early and I have my time that I can sit down and I could do that, my day go a lot different than if it's just quick go 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 because then you're so anxious because you're late. Learn to wake up early so you can then enjoy your time that you have in the day, not only for the other people but also for who create you.
Yeah. We get up at like 6:30. I do like stretches and like my meditation for like 15, 20 minutes. And then I just start my day. We go to swim practice, I go coach, we come back home and work. So I I definitely understand all of what you're saying. Yeah. I think this was a great podcast, about an hour. Thanks have thanks for hopping on, Carlos. It was a phenomenal podcast.
It's a pleasure, Carlson. So Anytime.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Take care.